Hello, hi students, how are you? I hope you are doing absolutely well. So, in our today's lecture, we are going to deal with our fresh topic, that is chapter number first of our chemistry, that is chemical reactions and equations. So, firstly, I want to tell you about some basic things. Have you ever observed if we are having a iron piece and we are kept it in the open, what actually happens? In the presence of water and oxygen, the iron will get a coating of rust over it. Have you observed it? We will see a red or brownish color layer on the surface of the iron. So this is actually the rust. So is it possible to get back that iron piece from that rust? Is it possible? I tell you this will not be possible because the chemical changes are accomplished in it, because some sort of chemistry has been applied to it. So chemistry is actually a branch of science in which we basically deals about the composition and state of the matter and how the chemical changes are accomplished. So this we are dealing in our branch of chemistry. And have you ever observed that if we dissolve sugar and salt in the water, what we get? We would get sugar solution or either the salt solution. But on heating that liquid, we will again get the sugar crystals or salt crystals. So these changes are called the physical changes, because in this no chemical reaction has been taking place. So in the branch of chemistry, we mainly deal with the chemical changes in our environment. So our first topic is chemical reaction. Any chemical reaction will going to happen only when certain amount of chemical changes take place. So what basically the chemical reaction is? Chemical reaction is something which is accomplished by a chemical changes. It is a reaction which is basically accompanied by certain form of chemical changes. It means when a chemical change happens or occurs, we will get a chemical reaction. So for the chemical reaction to take place, there must be a chemical change involved. So it is all about the chemical reaction. Now we are going to understand the chemical reaction with the help of a suitable example. So we have considered an example over here. Suppose we are provided with NaOH plus HCl. On certain conditions of temperature and pressure, we have NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, and we have HCl. HCl is basically the hydrochloric acid. It is hydrochloric acid. Now what we are going to get? Na will combine with Cl and we get NaCl plus OH molecules get combined with H molecules to give us the water molecule. So this is the basic reaction I have considered, and sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid on reaction give sodium chloride and water. So this is the basic equation we have deal with, and it is basically the chemical equation. So this is actually the basic equation in which the chemical reaction take place. I have already told you in some previous chapter, if I write only the name of the compounds, I will tell it as a word equation, but if I will represent it in the symbolic form, I will call it as a symbolic reaction. So the reaction shown below is a word equation, and the above shown here will be the symbol equation. So these are the both types of equation we have shown here Firstly, we will have a symbol equation that is in the form of the symbols, and we have the word equation that will be in the form of the alphabetical words. So this is all about the how chemical reaction will going to take place. If certain chemical reaction take place, there are the certain energy dissipations. Sometimes energy will be needed in the form of the radiations. Sometimes energy will be dissipated in the form of the heat. Sometimes energy is absorbed and sometimes the energy is released. So this is the chemical reaction, and chemical reaction is having a certain things that are present in the left hand side of the equation and certain things that are present on the right side of the equation. So these things which are present in the left hand side of the equation, which are combined to give a particular thing, are known as reactants, and the substance which is formed as a result of reactants will be called as a product. So we have the two terms in this category. First is reactants and second is products. So our second topic is characteristics of chemical reaction. So we are now on with our second topic of this chapter, that is characteristic of the chemical reaction. Characteristic of the chemical reaction can be defined in two categories. First is reactants and the second one is products. So what actually are the reactants? The something which combines on the left hand side of the equation are termed as reactants. The substance, or we may so say that elements that are combined in the reaction. So the substance that are combined in the reaction will be termed as the reactants, and these are basically written on the left hand side of the equation. They are written in left hand side. Now we are on our second term, that is products. What actually the products are? After combining two reactants, we get on the right hand side of the equation is actually the products. So the substance we get on combination of reactants. So the substance or the compounds we get after the combination of reactants are termed as products, and products are basically written on the right hand side of the equation. So these are termed as, these are written on right hand side, and we can call it as a products. So students, here that this reaction I have considered, these two are termed as reactants and these two are termed as products. So this is the particular difference between the reactants and products. If you want to copy it, please copy it now. Now we are with our next topic, that what are the effects of chemical reaction. We have our next topic, characteristics or effects of chemical reaction. the chemical reaction is basically characterized by 4 or 5 factors, and these factors are: first, change of state; secondly, we have change of color; change of energy; formation of precipitate; and the last one is evolution of gas. So these are the basic points through which the electronic chemical reaction will be characterized. So first topic is change of state, second is change of color, third is change of energy, fourth is form of precipitates, and fifth is evolution of gas. Now we will deal with these topics one by one. So firstly, I am considering the change of state. What actually happens in the change of the state? Have you ever observed So we are with our first topic, that what will happen in case of the change of state. Students, have you ever observed, if we keep ice cubes in our hand, after some time these cubes get converted into the liquefied form, that is water. So what actually happens? The ice pieces we have taken in our palm is in solid state. After attaining some temperature from the environment, it will convert it into the liquid state. So this is basically the change of the state. So in the change of the state will change from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, or vice versa. So first topic we have in our discussion will have first change of state. In change of state, we have particularly the state changing take place. So firstly, we will discuss about the change of the state. For this, I am considering a simple example so that it may be clear to you in the more easier way. So we have our first example, that is decomposition of water. So what will happen here, if I pass electricity to the water, this is water, and if I pass electricity to the solution, it will form H2 and O2. H2 is basically hydrogen and O2 on the other hand is oxygen. So if we pass electricity to the water solution, we will get H2 and O2. So what happens in this case? We have H2O, it is present in the liquid state. And what we are getting? We are getting H2 and O2. So H2 is a gas and O2 is again in the gas form. So what you are seeing here, the liquid state basically converts into two forms of gaseous state. So it is the characteristic of chemical reaction that change of state always takes place. Now we are on our second heading, that is change of color. How change of color can be accomplished? So we have our next topic, that is change of color. How color change take place? Have you ever observed, if we burn sugar crystals or the sugar particles, what actually happens? The sugar crystal that is pure white in color, after burning will form a black residue, and that black residue is actually what? It is carbon. So firstly we will understand the change of the color with simple example. We have taken a sugar. So the formula of sugar is C6H12O6. We have taken a sugar For the glucose, we will take the another example. Firstly, we will take sugar. C12H22O11. This is the basic formula for sugar. Now what happens if we going to heat this liquid, heat this solid? If I started heating, what I get? I will get 12C plus H2O and I will get 11H2O. So what happens in this case? The sugar that we obtain in a white powdery form, we will get carbon and oxygen over here. So in this, the color change will be accomplished because the sugar crystals we have in white color. This is in white color, and if I want to burn this solid crystals, I will get a black residue, that is carbon, which is in pure black color. So it will be in black color. So this is an example for the accomplishment of color change. Similarly, we can consider one more example for color change. So we have the next example here. I am taking copper carbonate and start heating it. What I get here, I am getting copper oxide plus carbon dioxide. This is basically copper carbonate. This is copper oxide and this is carbon dioxide. So after heating, what we are observing here, we will get copper oxide and oxygen. The copper carbonate I have taken here is green in color, but on heating it will form a substance that is black in color. So this is the basic effect of change of color of a chemical reaction. I hope the change of the state and the change of the color has been clear to you. Now we are on our third topic, that is change of energy. So now we will deal with change of energy. If you want to copy it, please copy it now. Now our third topic of discussion will be change of energy. So students, if a certain chemical reaction take place, there is either the absorption of energy or the energy will be released in the process. So if a chemical reaction take place, what actually the two phenomena take place? Either there is a emission of energy or either there will be the absorption of energy. These two processes take place. I am giving you just a simple example. Have you considered the process of photosynthesis? What actually happens in the process of photosynthesis? Green plants, in the presence of carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll and sunlight. Sunlight here is a heat energy. They are forming the food that is our product. So heat energy is taken in the process of photosynthesis and it is actually the biochemical process. So we are dealing with chemistry, so we will take certain chemical reactions to understand this topic. So if the energy absorption take place, the reaction is known as endothermic reaction. But if the energy is released or emitted, we will call this process as a exothermic reaction. So we have two topics in this equation. First is endothermic reaction and the second topic is exothermic reactions. Now we will go through these two topics one by one, that what are endothermic reactions and what are exothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions are those reactions in which energy is absorbed to accomplish any kind of chemical reaction. So in this process, what actually happens? Energy is absorbed. On the other hand, we have a certain type of chemical reactions in which energy is released or emitted. So these type of reactions are known as exothermic reactions. So in these reactions, energy is basically released. Now we will understand the absorption and emission of energy one by one with the help of the suitable example. If you want to copy it, please copy it now. So we are dealing with two chemical reactions, that is what are endothermic reactions and what are exothermic reactions. So we will understand this with the help of an easiest examples. So firstly we have endothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions are the reactions in which energy is absorbed. So the energy absorbed in this process, we will consider an example of carbon and sulfur. So carbon and sulfur on reaction will give us carbon disulfide. So the basic reaction for this will be, for the carbon we have a symbol C, for sulfur we have a symbol S2. On reaction it will give us CS2. So on completion of this reaction we need a certain amount of energy. So this is considered as a endothermic process. Now we are with a second reaction, that is exothermic reactions. Exothermic reactions are those reactions in which the energy is basically released. So the example for this is burning of magnesium. If I want to burn the magnesium in a Bunsen flame, so what I have to do? Firstly, I have considered magnesium as a Mg and its reaction with O2. And what we will get? We will get magnesium oxide, that is MgO. Here Mg is magnesium, O2 is oxygen and MgO is magnesium oxide. So on balancing this equation, what we will get? We will get 2 Mg plus O2 gives 2 MgO. So observe here, if I heat the magnesium in a Bunsen flame, that is in the presence of oxygen, the product we will get MgO with a liberation of certain amount of energy in the form of heat. So in this process, the product formed with the evolution of heat, and we can consider it in the category of exothermic processes, because in exothermic processes heat is generally evolved. So here are the two basic examples for exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. Endo means heat is absorbed and exo means heat is basically released. Now we are on our fourth category, that is formation of precipitate, that how actually the precipitate will form. So our fourth category is, we have deal with first, second and third. Now we are dealing with our fourth category, that is formation of precipitate. So our fourth topic is formation of precipitate. So we will will understand the formation of precipitate with the help of an example. For this, I have taken a tube. In this tube, what we have taken? We have taken silver nitrate and sodium chloride. So, what is this? This purple color indicates the silver nitrate and the white color will indicate the sodium chloride. This white color will indicate sodium chloride. After some time, on mixing these two liquids, one liquid and one solid, silver nitrate is in the liquid form and the NaCl will we have in the particulate form or the crystal form. What we will see, we will obtain the precipitate in this reaction, which will be settled at the bottom of the container. So these are actually the precipitates. So in certain chemical reaction, precipitate will be formed, which is the characteristic of that particular reaction. So the reaction for the formation of the precipitate will be, firstly I have taken silver nitrate, that is AgNO3. I have done the reaction with NaCl, and what I am getting here? I am getting here NaNO3 and AgCl. So students, here the precipitate forms will be for the silver chloride and the solution becomes colorless. This will show the NaNO3. This solution becomes colorless and the colorless solution will be of NaNO3 and the precipitates formed at the bottom of the container will be of AgCl. So here AgNO3 is silver nitrate, NaCl is sodium chloride, NaNO3 is silver nitrate and AgCl is sodium nitrate and silver chloride. NaNO3 is sodium nitrate and AgCl is precipitate, that is silver chloride. So in this reaction, NaNO3 will form a colorless solution and we will get the AgCl as a precipitate which will settle at the bottom of the container. So this is the fourth characteristic of any chemical reaction. Now we are on our last topic, that what will happen in case of evolution of gas. So our last topic, fifth topic, is evolution of gas. Evolution of gas is the another characteristic of the chemical reaction. For this I have taken a container and what I have done, I have filled H2SO4 in this tank. This is H2SO4. H2SO4 means it is sulfuric acid. So after filling sulfuric acid in it, we have put some zinc granules. So these are zinc granules. After some time, what we have observed, if I react zinc with H2SO4, Zn plus H2SO4, I will get zinc sulfate with the evolution of hydrogen gas from it. So this is actually zinc, this is sulfuric acid, What we will get? We will get zinc sulfate with the evolution of hydrogen gas. So after reacting zinc granules with the sulfuric acid, we will observe the evolution of hydrogen gas from here. So this is what? This is actually the hydrogen gas. So in this reaction, we have reacted zinc and sulfuric acid and the hydrogen gas is evolved in this process. So it is the example for evolution of heat. So the characteristics of the chemical reactions have been done today. In our next lecture, we will deal with some more topics. So this is all over for today. Thank you so much and have a nice day.